You are watching Issues at Hand on Church of Uganda Family TV, and of course, it being a Friday, you know what it means. It means that we have our guest being an officer of the law from Uganda Police, and we're excited to hear what Uganda Police has for us today. My name is Bruno Edgar. Thank you for watching, and Issues at Hand is proudly brought to you by Protea Hotel Entebbe. Now, today we are talking about the right of way. It's a contentious issue that brings a lot of problems when it comes to traffic, and many motorists and road users, people want to understand who is supposed to use right of way, who is supposed to use sirens. Can I, as a civilian, go and apply for a siren and then I get right of way? We are going to understand all of that. So keep it locked here on Issues at Hand on Church of Uganda Family TV. Now, my guest for today is Afande Israel Wambesyo. He makes another triumphant return to Issues at Hand. He is a Deputy Commander, Traffic, Kampala Metropolitan. Thank you once again for coming back to Issues at Hand to help us break down and understand what the law says about right of way.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno. Good morning, our viewers and listeners. We appreciate your effort that you put aside and see to it that you listen to us. And we know that whenever we come to you, you don't remain the same as we got you. My name is, again, have not differed from what you had earlier on been informed. I'm Wambesyo Israel. I'm the Deputy Traffic Commander, Kampala Metropolitan. Thank you for hosting me on these waves of Family TV this morning. As my host has said about our topic this morning, it will unfold as we go on.
As we go on. Wonderful. Now, before we get into proper Ugandan laws, what the Ugandan law and what traffic police says about right of Mr. Israel Wambesyo Afande, take us through what right of way is and who is entitled to right of way and who is not.
Thank you, my host. As you've seen, I think whoever could have been watching this, unless he missed the point, but it is well explained. Everybody has the right to use the road, but priorities differ depending on what one could be doing at that time. And I may say that the law guides us well, that every road user, or as you use the road, you must ensure that what rings in your mind first is safety for everybody. Safety for yourself and safety for other road users. All this that we intend to say or do is to provide safety for everybody. So you find that as you are using the road, ensure that as you are approaching, you approach in a manner that may not bring a danger to yourself or a danger to another person. And you've seen that everybody has the right to use the road, as we said, but you find that priorities, as we said, matter. Like for our case here, the law says that every road user, all motorists in the road will keep the left, and they will overtake on the right, unless there are circumstances that may warrant you to overtake on the left. Is when you may do what? You may overtake on the left. But overtaking all road maneuvers, as we may see, you must keep what? Or maneuver from the right. So, but as we say that priorities differ in this case here, we have emergency vehicles that can be given right of way during when they're executing the emergency situation. Note that because you are driving a vehicle which is meant to execute an emergency situation, and at that time it's not executing any emergency situation, then you say that you have right of way. Which are these? Emergency situation is a situation which warrants you to respond in an emergency way in a view to save life. That in case you don't do it at that time, another situation which may follow may not be the best. So in this case, if you are responding to save life, it is an emergency. Like an ambulance carrying a patient to save life. An ambulance responding to pick a patient to save life. A patrol car or in a police emergency vehicle responding to a situation maybe to save life. An accident has occurred and they're moving in faster to save life. You find the fire brigade, all those fall under the emergency category. You find military convoys, which may also be responding to a state emergency and the rest. Due to the nature of work they carry out, all those fall under emergency. But the law says it clearly, as I'll read to you, that even if you are on emergency response, but you need to take due diligence, because on the road you are there with others. So, but also you, another road user, as you see an emergency car approaching, of course to put the siren, of course to put the lights on to alert you that it is approaching. Also slow down, go off the road, you can stop, close at your left and give this vehicle which is approaching to respond to an emergency, carry on. So those are the categories. We have the military convoys or military motorcade. We have the police emergency vehicles. We have the ambulances, all those which fall in the category of emergency. But only when it is responding to an emergency. Not that even when there's no emergency case, you just ride around and disrupt the good flow of the traffic.
Thank you for taking us through that. And the thing I want to hinge on really, which you've explained very well, is that in cases of emergency. Now, why is this important? Because we have seen that in many situations there are military convoys or even ambulances that use this right of way, this permission of right of way, without even there being an emergency. I was reading a story sometime this week about an ambulance that almost caused an accident, and now this ambulance was using right of way, was driving very speedily, and people who followed that ambulance found out that at the end the driver of the ambulance was just buying chicken. He had no patient, but he used that right of way just to go and buy roasted chicken. So it's important for us to know that yes, that there are certain groups or categories of vehicles that are given this right of way. You've mentioned military convoys, police escorts, and even ambulances, but it's only for emergency situations. But then my question from there is, okay, there are two. One, if I'm a driver and I'm on the road and there's a car behind me and I realize this car wants to use the right of way and they don't have the right of way, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to give them that right of way? But secondly, in terms of police escorts or even ambulances, Many of them, in terms of the way the ambulances are formulated, you can't see really what's in the ambulance, so you can't know whether this ambulance is in an emergency or not. How can I tell? And what am I supposed to do in that situation? Because we have seen stories where some cars of police escorts or even ambulances have caused accidents because they are using this right of way. So in that situation, what am I supposed to do? Because I can't tell, especially when there's a siren that's behind me that's ringing out loudly. I won't be able to tell whether this vehicle that wants a right of way actually is an emergency or not.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno, and our viewers and listeners. We've on several occasions interrupted the indiscipline of such people who use the chance to disrupt the peace of others. We've on several occasions even taken some of this to court. And here as we are, before I go to the point, we even warn them strongly that those who intend to behave contrary to what we expect them to behave, we shall not cease taking action against them. On several occasions, we've arrested ambulance drivers or drivers of emergency vehicles purported to be, and taken them to court. You find somebody, well, he's driving an ambulance, he's rushing to nowhere, as you have said, that after rushing, then somewhere he stops, go for personal business. So once we establish that you've not been doing that, we encourage the public to report such cases. When somebody has misbehaved, as I say, that road safety is a concern for everybody. You can't expect the police officers in uniform to be everywhere, but they can be everywhere when they are joined to the public. They can be everywhere when they are joined to all concerned citizens. And we see that any lawlessness is stamped out. You find that these people, we will stop them occasionally and establish really what are they carrying out an emergency. You find that he has even carried passengers. I think we've ever done that. Sometime we arrested someone, was it on Masaka Road, if I may recall, and only to find out that was during the festive season, because the transport had hiked. You find that due to the number of people who are flowing out, transport was a problem. So this ambulance driver was in the rush. Our prudent officers, when they stopped them, to find out only that passengers were what? In the car, who were not even patient. So we had to take action against such a driver. So even our own, like as we said, the military convoys, the police patrol cars, we've also taken action against them if they are not responding to an emergency, and in the end they cause a wanting situation. So we, as the enforcement, we are supposed to lead by good example, so that the public who have trust in us can trust us more. But when we lead by bad example, then the public lose confidence in us. So, as you say that when you're executing an emergency situation, you must put it in consideration with the others also along the road. And if, as you are doing it, and in the end the public finds that what you are doing was not real, they gave you way to move, think that you are going to execute an emergency situation, then in the end ahead they find you stopped, you are not doing anything. Then the next time it will breed indiscipline in the road, but I think when we give him way, there's nothing he's going to do. And just as the law categorizes this particular group or category to be emergency, you find that because people had started losing trust or confidence in what an emergency situation is supposed to be or looks like. They ended up also putting their own way, these sirens, shivering lights, so that they could also pretend that they are rushing for an emergency just to beat the what? The jam. Whereas in that context, they will be even creating more jam, because the road, the side that you are moving, the inconvenience that you are causing delays the faster flow that would enable you also get on to where you are going easily. And what others have also ended up doing, they have done driving from the opposite direction. We expect the traffic to be flowing, for instance, on a dual carriage. You find that the traffic that would be moving, we shall pay like on Binaisa Road. The road is separated for the traffic that is coming from Mulago side or Kubiri towards Mulago or towards Gulf Coast. But you find that somebody courageously drives from Kubiri roundabout on the opposite side, which is supposed to take the traffic towards Karere. Or somebody driving right away from Karere towards Kubiri on the side that is supposed to take the traffic in the opposite direction. And he talks it to be having the right of way. There is no right of way which permits driving in such a way. You've always seen, we also in the military convoys, if we are moving, we communicate and we follow the right direction. We follow the right direction, but that's why they guide it that you, when you see that there is an emergency vehicle following, slow down, go off a bit and give it way to move faster. But doesn't mean that you are supposed to move on the other side of the road, which takes traffic in the opposite direction. That puts your life or the life of others in a danger. So these people or people outside there, they mistake what the right of way is. But as you have seen in the video clip played, there wasn't anything guiding that drive on the opposite side of the road. Thank you.
Yes, and you've given us the categories of those vehicles that can use the right of way, vehicles that are going for emergency situations. But I want to ask you on the issue of dignitaries, because we have seen for many instances, of course, as far as we know as a society, when it comes to the likes of the president of the country, the vice president, the speaker, these are dignitaries who move with convoys and they are allowed right of way. But we have seen MPs, we have seen traditional leaders and other civilians who think they are big in society, or are of, they might not think, but they are of big standing in society, who like using this right of way. So who are the dignitaries who are supposed to use right of way? Is it also open to traditional leaders and big people in society, or are there specific dignitaries who are the only ones who are supposed to use the right of way?
Thank you. Everybody in society matters, but you find that depending on the status of one, it puts him or her in a position that supersedes others. I'll say, and you also really know it, that Our Excellency, the head of state, is a fountain of honor. And you've seen it, that even his convoy doesn't drive in the opposite way as others do. And his convoy is led by the police car, which clearly opens up the road to alert others that there is a convoy following. The law is observed. And in addition to HE, the vice president too. In addition to that, you find the Speaker of Parliament. You find the Chief Justice and others. But note that every member of Parliament, every minister, no. The category specifies clearly who uses the who is given priority in the road, depending on their status in society, and also depending on the risks which could come up when such people may be delayed in some situations which I may not put on air like as it is. But we are trying to see who has priority of the usage of the road over another. But if we say that every minister, every MP, every traditional leader, then still there could be chaos. And that's why we are out to see to it that the category that does not benefit to that doesn't really cause commotion outside in the road. And even in your case, as you may see, that the convoy of His Excellency, the convoy of His Excellency, the Vice President, the Right Honorable, the Speaker of Parliament, and the rest, they are out in the road once in a while. So when they come out, you really see that there is need for them to be given what? Way.
But these big wigs who are not supposed to use the right of way and use it, does the police, traffic police, bring them to book, or are they left unscathed?
You know, as I said, my host, that we are out to see to it that the law is followed. You could have monitored it outside. We are having a joint operation, all of us, to see to it that whoever doesn't benefit from that, and he has been doing it, because we really know that some people had installed these sirens illegally. They are not permitted. They have installed them illegally, as we said. They are putting these shivering lights, which causes commotion, and you end up, yet the law clearly says how the vehicle is supposed to be adapted on the road. They put in additional lights, which does those others and the rest. So for those who are not beneficiaries of it, I don't have statistics here right now, but since the beginning of the week, we've taken action against them, and the law has taken its course. And it's not that we started only this week, because the law didn't come in place in the course of the week. It has been on, but we saw that we now go more public by even publishing it for those who are committing the offenses, to show others that whoever had intended to do it, or whoever was about to do it, then if he's caught on the wrong side of the law, he will answer for his mistakes.
On the issue of sirens, you brought an important issue. Who is supposed to use these sirens? And when it comes to sirens and even right of way, are there instances where a civilian can get permission from Uganda police to use these sirens and have right of way?
Uganda police is an enforcement body. As you know, our mandate is to keep law and order. And where we find that somebody has broken the law, as the law guides, action must be taken. So, Uganda police is not which permits somebody to get the what? The siren or the right of way. You very well know that there is a ministry in charge of transport, that is the Ministry of Works and what? And Transport. So, and in all the traffic law rules and the regulations, it says, as the minister may by law prescribe. So it is normally the minister in consultation with the other stakeholders who makes the laws, who makes the regulations. So the Uganda police is only to enforce, but doesn't permit the installation of the sirens or the shivering lights.
Oh, so it's up to the minister and his team. How can you make an application? Because I want us to understand, first of all, who is supposed to use a siren and who is not.
As we said, that the category I've just mentioned, and you see that the Uganda police force in Uganda, it is mandated to protect law and to protect life and property. And it is mandated to enforce the laws of Uganda. So, as we've said, that the Uganda police, by virtue of the vehicles installed or adapted for a particular use, they are the ones which they use in clearance of those categories that we've mentioned. Like you've seen His Excellency the President, you've seen the Vice President, and otherwise. So those vehicles, as they come, they are adapted for that use. But not that everybody can go about and install his siren and adapt his vehicle for that use that he intends to do. So all these categories that are supposed to have that right of way, they are prescribed by the regulation.
And then when it comes to understanding the right of way, one of the issues that has been raised by several sources is that motorists on the road don't understand the right of way. And that's why we're talking about it today on Issues at Hand, because we want to understand right of way, who is supposed to use right of way, who are supposed to use sirens, and who is not, and what to do when it comes to a situation where you're required to give right of way. So there has been a lack of sensitization. What is the police doing to ensure that motorists are sensitized about right of way?
The police is doing that it is supposed to do. Like as we are here with you, my host, we are doing it. We are informing the public that unnecessary use of sirens is not wanted on the road. Because when you just create that noise, people who are moving around, you don't know. There are people who are hypertensive, there are people who are having different illnesses. You may scare them off. So that's why we minimize the category. That's why the law guides us on a few people who fall under the emergency, because they are not always there. And you may not find them here and there. But if you allow everybody to cause chaos in the road, you'll find that there will be no order. So, you find that the people who even fall under that category, they're also guided on how they are supposed to behave in the road. But as we said, everybody is free to use the road. But how are you using it? How do you use it to be safe on the road? How do you use it for others to be what? Safe in the road? So that is where you find that there is a problem. People think that when you come on the road and you start making alarm, you start hooting, you start creating disorder, then is when you know that you have right of way. But everybody has the right to use the road. But we only said that others supersede others.
And that is why we are talking about it here on Issues at Hand today and understanding the right of way. It's a very, very touchy issue when it comes to Ugandan motorists, because a lot of people feel hurt when there are people who misuse right of way, especially the discussion we had earlier on by either MPs or some ministers, because not everyone is guaranteed this right. This right is just for a few people, like the president of this country, the vice president, the speaker, the chief justice, the prime minister, and all the rest will have to toe in line. And then the other people who are guaranteed it are military convoys or police convoys that are on emergency, including ambulances that are on emergency. So there's a bit of a disclaimer therein. But once again, I'm joined by Afande Israel Wambesyo, who is a Deputy Commander Traffic, that's from Kampala Metropolitan. And one of the things I want to understand is what is our response as a driver. If I'm a driver and there's another car behind me who wants to overtake me and wants to use that right of way or misuse the right of way, what can I do? What can I do to ensure that I do not become a victim by this person's misuse?
Thank you, my host. As we say that in the road, before you get on movement in the road, as a driver, adjust your mirror as well, adjust your seat well to see that you are in total control of your car. Then you'll be able to see what is coming behind of you. You'll be able to see what is overtaking you and from which side. The law guides us well that in Uganda, you'll always keep the left. And when you are keeping the left, for instance, if you are to overtake, we said you overtake from the right. And we always say that always be patient to avoid being a patient. Once you are patient in the road, you will not be a patient in the hospital. But when you are impatient in the road, you will be a patient in the hospital, or you may end up in a mortuary. That's a fact. So, when somebody is coming behind of you, he wants to overtake you, the law guides us well that all maneuvers will be on the right. So once you see somebody is trying to approach you from behind, you must see to it that it is safe for him or her to overtake before you allow. That's why you have an indicator. Those indicators are communication. Because you who is in front, you are the one who is seeing how ahead is clear. So you can give this person a way to bypass you if you are moving slowly. But that only if it is safe. And you also want to overtake. You need to see to it that it is safe for you to overtake. We say don't overtake in a blind corner. Don't overtake where a queue of vehicles. Don't overtake more than 3 vehicles at a go. So, as my host was asking, that if somebody is overtaking or trying to show that he has right of way more than him or another person, what should he do? We've categorized the category which has right of way, and we have clearly stated that how they approach when they are executing an emergency. But another person who is just indisciplined in the road, overtaking anyhowly, he will end up causing trouble on you and himself or another person. Take note of that number. You have smartphones as of now. Record his indiscipline and send it to us. Or another person who may be reachable. And such people, once we fight together, the indiscipline will cease. Don't allow somebody who in the road, then drifting in front of you, you smash into him, he's going to waste your time. So, let's record the indiscipline which is observed in the road to see that we create discipline in the road for all of us.
Yes, and thank you so much for telling us about that. We see that in many junctions, everyone wants to move, and then you find there's a particular junction. I want to mention the name of the place, but there's a particular road junction where everyone tries to move at the same time, and you find all the cars from all sides are stuck in the center. So that is going to that is very helpful to us to understand right of way, who goes first, so that we cannot find ourselves in congestion. Now, for those motorists who misuse these rules and regulations when it comes to right of way, what is the penalty?
It depends, because you may find that in the event of misusing the right of way, you may create another offense as a result of that. Maybe you may not, as you are indisciplined in the road. Otherwise, the penalty is, if it goes to express penalty, you are given a ticket of 100,000. Or if you are taken to court, it may exceed that, or imprisonment. So it's not mandatory that when we get you, we give you a ticket. we may decide to take you to court, or we may give you a ticket and you pay it within the stipulated time. Some time back, we were here and guided the public as to why the EPS tickets were there, and we found that some were not even compliant of what they are supposed to do as much as they are given. So all these operations target to bring discipline in the road. So you've seen it well that somebody in the road, we all have right of way, but it is a matter of discipline that who goes before the other. And we have already said that the traffic approaching on the right has the what? To be given priority. And we also see that if you are at the junction, when you are approaching somebody who is on the main, there's somebody who is in the main, on the main road, on the main highway, has the right of way. He is given priority, I would say, to go before you. Also, the traffic which is yielding from a minor road can also what? Access. So right of way, it is priority, a chance given before others. So that, in simple terms, I would say that priority, right of way, to be given a priority over another one.
Priority over another one, especially if you are of that category that he has been mentioning throughout this entire episode of Issues at Hand. Now, Fande, what's your final remark when it comes to right of way? What do you want motorists and pedestrians out there to understand and to remember when it comes to our conversation on the right of way?
I would like to appeal to the general motoring public that we should follow the law. And I would like also to inform them that an informed mind will always have less to do with, to be in conflict with the law. So let's always get to know what we are supposed to do, at what place, and then you'll find that we are not in conflict with the law. When you are driving or when you are using the road, ensure that you are to give safety to yourself, you are to give safety to others, you are to make those roads safer for you and another person, not to go and cause a road to be a battlefield where people have to lose life, where people have to injure life, where people have to damage property. No, all this comes due to lack of awareness, lack of respect for others. But if you respect another, other people also do respect you. So I would say that let our public always take the information that you give us or we give them to be of use to them. But you find that, and let them always follow the program. For instance, if you have known that on a Friday between 9 and 10 on Family TV, there is a program that can help you save life. What you have learned, when your family comes back in the evening from the places of work, give it to them, the information. When you inform people, you'll have saved expenditures and the rest. Thank you, the Family TV. I always see that in the evening you air this program again to benefit those who could have missed it during the day. So call upon people to see to it that they get informed so that they can stay alive and push on with life.
Thank you so much, Afande Israel Wambesyo, for taking us through understanding the right of way when it comes to traffic rules and regulations. And thank you so much, our viewers, for tuning in to Issues at Hand on Family TV. Remember what he says. I like this statement. If you don't want to be a patient, be patient. Be patient on the road so that you can avoid being a patient in the hospital, because all lives matter. And it's important to us that as a family, we ensure that our family members are alive, that we take good care of our families. We want to stay alive because we have a responsibility and duty towards our families. So it is upon us to follow traffic rules and regulations to ensure that we save lives and property, so that as a family we can continue to thrive. Thank you once again for joining us. We shall see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. God richly bless you.